Hey folks, in this video, let's talk about India's crude oil reserves, strategic petroleum reserves or SPR, hydrocarbon or petroleum or crude oil, call it what you like. It is probably at the heart of global economic activity. Despite all the efforts of moving towards green energy, oil still runs the global economy. And for a few more decades, oil may continue to be at the center of global economic activity. On a personal level, think about how you go to work, go to shop, go to visit friends and family. Think about the things you buy at grocery store or kirana stores that are essentials. How do those things get to that particular store? Without gas, diesel, petrol, life may come to a standstill. We need oil every day. We use oil every day. And just like we keep a stock of essential things at home, nations keep a stock of crude oil. They call it Strategic Petroleum Reserves or SPRs. SPR is a critical component of a national security for any nation. So, to understand how much SPR India has, we need to look at India's oil usage or oil demand. At a national level, oil demand or usage is stated in terms of barrels of oil used per day. For example, United States uses about 20 million barrels of oil per day. Every single day, 20 million barrels of oil. China over 60 million barrels per day, and India about 5.5 million barrels of crude oil per day. Now, India started constructing SPR storage facilities only since June 2015. So, India is new or late to this game. Now, you can't just store oil in the open for obvious reasons. Adversaries or terrorist groups may easily attack them in open. So, they are usually stored, or these facilities are constructed in underground rock caverns. Underground rock caverns are considered the safest mode of storing hydrocarbons. So, as of early 2025, India has three SPR storage facilities with total capacity of storing about 39 million barrels of oil, which translates to 7 days of usage or demand. Remember, India uses about 5.5 million barrels of oil per day. So 39 million barrels will last India for about 7 days. So, in a hypothetical situation where oil supply completely vanishes from the world overnight, Indians may continue to live their lives as they were for about 7 days. On the eighth day, we are effed. Of course, this is very unlikely to happen, but global crisis events do pop up occasionally. We just went through the global pandemic. Something like that may limit oil production severely, or war in the Middle East may impact oil production. To shield citizens from such oil supply shocks, nations maintain SPR storage facilities. Anyways, India has about 7 days worth of oil storage that is in government control. Then Indian oil marketing companies have another 64 odd days of oil storage. So in total, India has enough oil storage capacity where that oil can last India for some 70 odd days. So, how does this compare with other major nations? We'll only consider government controlled SPR storage facilities. Now, United States has the largest SPR storage capacity at over 700 million barrels of oil, which translates to about 35 days of usage for the United States. But currently, US has only 395 million barrels of oil in their SPR storage facilities. The reason being, President Biden sold over 300 million barrels of oil to deal with market disruption caused by the Russia Ukraine war in 2022. And experts claim that it'll take some $20 billion and several years to refill America's SPR facilities back to full capacity. But this is an example of how these reserves can be used to shield citizens from oil supply shock in the real world. Then look at China. There is no reliable data on China, but it is estimated that China has some 30 days worth of SPR storage capacity. Compared to China and US, India is far behind. So, in the recently announced budget for financial year 2026, some $650 million were allocated to the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas to expand India's SPR storage capacity. A new facility will be built in Chandikhol in Odisha, and existing Padur facility will be expanded. By the end of it, India's SPR capacity will go from about 39 million barrels of oil to 87 million barrels of oil, or roughly 15 days of usage. About half of where US and China currently stand. Before we close, just a word on India's import dependency. Now, we saw that India uses about 5.5 million barrels of oil per day, but most of that oil is imported. India does not produce a lot of oil. It used to be that India imported about 80-85% of oil it needed, but that import dependency is going up. Now, I think in 2015, the government had set the target to reduce import dependency to some 67-68% by 2022. It has gone the other way. India is approaching 90% import dependency for its oil. That is, in a year or two, India may import 90% of the oil it needs. This is a concerning trend. I hope you found this analysis interesting. I'll speak with you again next week. Until then, take care.